Zayne Parekh is the offensive defenseman in this draft. You're looking for a quarterback for your power play one? Parekh is your guy. Need a one-man breakout machine? That's Parekh. Want a defenseman who handles the puck as if he's a top six forward? Zayne Parekh is your man. This past year, Parekh's draft year, he finished with 96 points in the regular season. That was tied for 6th in the entire OHL. That's not just among D-men, to be clear. That's tied for 6th in the entire OHL amongst everyone, forwards and defensemen. When you watch Parekh, here is the big thing that jumps out. He's constantly in attack mode. He's always attacking, always looking to create offense, always looking to create something on the ice, something exciting, and hopefully something that leads to a goal for his team. And one important point about Zayne Parekh, it's not like he's a particularly small defenseman. Now, he's not huge, he's not gigantic, but he's 6 foot 180, and he's got some room on that frame to put on some more weight, some more muscle. So this isn't necessarily a guy who is 5'8", 5'9", the same way a lot of the high-scoring defensemen in junior hockey usually are. He's got some size, and he's not necessarily going to be pushed around at the highest level as long as he keeps getting stronger. Add in the fact that he's that coveted right-handed shooting defenseman that every NHL team wants, and it's pretty easy to see why he's not expected to last too long in the 2024 NHL Draft. So what are Zayne Parekh's strengths? Well, for starters, he's one of the best puck handlers in the draft, period. And again, not just among defensemen in the draft. I'm talking period. He's nearly impossible to poke check off the puck. He dangles through players, around players. He's just a dynamic weapon with the puck on his stick. As for Parekh's skating, he's a stellar lateral skater. Side to side, walking the line, especially up at the point, he is straight up elite, and it really shows on the power play when he's able to use that lateral skating to find lanes, to get pucks through traffic, and to help his teammates score goals. Oh, and that shot that I just mentioned, it's +2. It's got great accuracy. It's got some legitimate velocity. It's not just the lateral skating that allows him to get pucks through and get them on net on the power play. It's the quality of the shot as well. It's legitimately really good. Unsurprisingly, given his puck skills, given his vision, he's really good at engineering the breakout, as most offensive defensemen are, particularly for Parekh in terms of stretch passes. He's a risk taker, and he's going to try to stretch defenses and create odd man rushes, create breakaways for his forwards. He has the vision, he has the passing accuracy, and he has the creativity to pull it off pretty regularly. In the end, in terms of overall skill set, the hard truth is that Parekh is just the most complete offensive defenseman in this draft class. That's not to say there aren't some weaknesses in Zayne Parekh's game, though. There's a reason why all those strengths were focused on his work with the puck and his offensive play. It's not that Zayne Parekh can't make defensive plays. He does sometimes. He has a strong stick. He can break plays up with his poke checking ability, but he's supremely inconsistent in coverage and even with the puck on his stick in the defensive zone. The biggest flaw really for Parekh in terms of a defensive play is the fact that he just seems to lose focus at times. He's prone to puck watching, which, rightly or wrongly, at times can look like he's just kind of saving his energy for when he can get the puck and do the fun things on offense rather than do the hard things on defense. It's glaring when you watch him, and it's a legitimate concern. There also are some questions about his decision-making. Now, he makes a lot of plays with a puck, to be sure, and he keeps a lot of offensive zone possessions alive with his aggressive pinching, but those pinches can sometimes turn into odd man rushes. He's probably, at this stage, a little too over-aggressive, just needs to do a little recalibration of that risk-reward on the pinching in the offensive zone so that his team isn't constantly defending odd man rushes. Also, for all of his creativity and his puck handling skills, he can sometimes force plays with the puck, leading to turnovers in the neutral zone and leading to dangerous plays going the other way. Finally, while he is an elite lateral skater, and that shows especially on the power play, his change of direction, his edges, we're not talking about Connor McDavid or even Cale Makar here in terms of his top-end gear. He's fast, and he can move, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't have that elite breakaway speed that some of the other defensemen in this class have. Now, in theory, other than maybe the skating, these are all theoretically fixable issues. He could improve his focus defensively. He could gain a better understanding of risk-reward on the pinches. these aren't necessarily deal breakers for Zayne Parekh's long-term potential. But just because Parekh could fix them, it doesn't necessarily mean he will. And there certainly is a world where Zayne Parekh is an offensive dynamo from the back end, but always gives back a lot of those gains in the defensive zone with poor defensive play. That's a risk, and that's the risk you take if you take Zayne Parekh in the top 10. Now, for me, personally, I do have some concerns about Parekh's defensive play. Certainly not enough to view him as not a top-tier defenseman in this draft, but it probably puts him below some of the safer, more complete options for me, to the point where I'd be a little hesitant to take him in the top 10. I'd feel a little bit more comfortable taking him somewhere in that 10 to 14 range rather than where I expect him to go, which is solidly in the top 10. Zayne Parekh is still a very exciting prospect. We're talking about a right-handed shooting defenseman with high-end offensive skills and the potential where if he hits, he could be a point-per-game defenseman every year in the NHL. He has that much talent. It's just personally, there's a few defensemen in this draft I'm a little bit higher on.
We all silly like the mayor.